episode of Bobcast. Today on the show, I have my friend, Nahscha.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm living. It's been a minute since we did this.
It has.
Over 2 years, almost 3 years, I guess. But the podcast wasn't even a fully formed idea yet. Mm-hmm. It was early. I don't remember what episode it was, but
yeah, I feel like we both found each other in the beginning kind of what we were doing. I mean, I've been singing forever, but like artist wise, like my music, that was more at the beginning. So
one of those like early creators that you meet when you don't really know that you're doing it yet.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, I want to do a podcast. That sounds cool. And here we are now. So I'm glad to be back.
And I'm thinking, I hope that she'll come on the podcast. Like, I was out there I was just pitching people like, I have this podcast, we got 9 episodes, man. It's going,
I was like, yeah.
But it didn't matter like the amount of episodes or whatever, but back then. But now it's been so it's been a couple years, and a lot has changed in that time.
A lot has happened,
specifically with both of us as well, in terms of our careers and what we're doing. And you ended up really taking the jump and building something. It's just crazy, like when I look back at that and what we were both doing, and then now when I look and like you've just progressed, like that's like consistently,
Thank you.
And so it's crazy. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're doing it, that's it. But
day by day.
What has the last 2 years, you can you can touch on whatever you would like, but like in the last couple years, like what has been the things that were really like affected you, like really changed, in those since we last met,
Well, I think like most would say the pandemic, for one, was huge. Changed a lot for, I think, everyone in their own way. But for me, I was serving at a restaurant, and then because of the pandemic, I was no longer serving. I was fired and whatnot because of everything happening. And so then I was just at home for a bit. And before that, I had been like, recording and busking, which is when I sing out in the subways and when I sing out in the streets. And then the pandemic happened, and then I was just like inside, and I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm going stir crazy. Like I need to make music. I need to sing. I need to do things. So I finally started to go back out into the subways. And I think what really changed for me was just honestly making that decision. And then I just was like being a lot more, I was always posting on social media, but I started posting my busking videos a lot more, like on TikTok and everything. And then from going back out, on TikTok and whatnot, I had some good videos and whatnot that helped, get my name out there. And then also by being outside in the parks and going back out there, restaurants were trying to they were opening back up and they wanted some music. And so it just kept kind of like snowballing. But it's been crazy, honestly. It's just like, I don't know. It's just been like, I don't even know where to start. I hope I answered that right.
No, there's no right or wrong with the podcast, We just talk.
There's just like so much that has happened that I'm like, if I would just like talk forever if I was like, well, then this happened and this happened. But to sum it up, that's basically the vibe.
Yeah, and I guess, and that's what I was kind of hoping that you would say, which is really like your music of taking
Oh, and I released music. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and
finally.
And you released music too. And we were talking about like writing. I think we were talking about writing music on the last podcast. So it's just crazy to think like, all right, now we've been. Honestly, did you release as much as you wanted to release?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not yet. I have so much more.
I don't think anybody did. I got to like a year through the pandemic, and I'm like, oh wait, did I just not release anything? I realized I didn't even release anything, or I released one song, and I went, what was I doing, man? Like I was grinding on other stuff, honestly, like that's the real truth. But I've realized that I did just not think about it, and I kind of just kept going. It was so easy to go through the motions, I felt like.
Yeah, for sure. And even with you saying that, I can definitely be like, I have so much music that I want to release that it's like, yeah, I should be releasing like every month or something. I need to be way more consistent with it, but that's also kind of just how it goes. There's like a process and everyone is different, but for me, like, you know, I'm human and I go through my own waves of like feelings, or maybe I'm going through a funk and then I'm like, time goes by and you're like, oh shit, it's been can I curse?
Oh yeah, as much as you want.
It's been
Uncensored.
it's been like X amount of months. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't I? Like time is just like flying by, and you don't even realize sometimes how long. And I'll look and I'm like, damn, it's been like 7 months. I need to release more. I have so much more music I want to share, so I'm definitely going to be releasing more very soon.
How do you look at the busking in the whole entirety of your music, though? Like, where does it fall? Is it like practice? Is it like its own separate thing? Is it like making a song? Is it like just performing a regular song, or like is it its own thing entirely?
You know, I feel like one of the best things about it is that it's like everything in one. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is practice. It's also performing. It's marketing. It's social skills. It's strategy. It's it takes a lot of I would say confidence, but also thick skin, because you have to really shut out the part of it that can be so strange. It's like people are looking at you and wondering like, what? And some people are judging you, and you're gonna see people who like give you weird looks. But I mean, the good energy that comes from it is way more powerful than any like negative that could come from it. And even if something is negative, it always turns into a positive, in my opinion. But I think that's the beauty of it, is that it's like everything in one. Like I probably missed some, but yeah, it's I feel like it can really shape you.
It's so dynamic that you can kind of hit on everything there.
Yeah, there's not just one thing like, oh, well, I just do it to practice. Like, no, you're practicing, but then as you do it, you realize you're like, whoa, but it's like I can perform anywhere. Or it's like I could still get nervous because I'm a human being and I'll be nervous, but at the end of the day, if I can do that, then I can get on that stage. And if I can see that many people who are not even asking me to be here, then like I can do that. And then you realize how many people you're seeing from all over the world, and you're like, ooh, I'm like literally marketing myself for free. So there's just so many different aspects of it where you're like,
but that's not why it's taken seriously, though. That's not why it's taken seriously by like whatever places that you can't do it. Like, it's not because like they're not looking at like, well, these people can, you know, make money. Maybe they are. Like, maybe that's why. Like, it's interesting that I never really thought about it as like a free stage, kind of.
And, you know, that's what I always say that. I love that you said that, because I always say that if someone's not going to give me a stage, I'm going to make my own stage. And I'm going to just fucking do it. If you're not going to give me somewhere to sing, if I don't have somewhere to sing, I'm going to make my own spot. And that's pretty much a big reason why I started doing it, among other things. But it was that feeling of like, well, I need to put myself out there in some way. I need to just do it. I need to like give off that vibe of like, you're going to listen to me whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But if you do like it, great, cool. Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm here to bring good energy. But it's like, yeah, you got to make your own stage, in my opinion. If you don't have one, it's, you know, you can't be like, oh, well, I don't have anywhere to sing, or oh, well, try it out. You do have somewhere to sing. You can go on the street. It's not for everyone. But I think it could be for everyone if people tried it and like let go of maybe the fear of it, or the worry that you're going to look a certain way and whatnot. And notice how like when we talked about what does it do for me, or like, is it the performance, is it practice, like I didn't even once say it's for the money. You know, of course the money is nice and it's like it can be helpful, but like that's not what it's for.
It's nice to get paid for doing the thing.
It's a plus.
Yeah, it's a plus. Yeah, it's nice to get paid for doing what you like to do.
Yeah, and it's cool to know that you can have that effect, or that can happen, especially because, you know, we all got bills to pay, so it's definitely why not? I mean, but I don't go out there saying like, look, I do it so that people will pay me and like I don't look at people like wallets.
No, but then you're gonna get your paid gigs. That's not the same thing. You know?
Oh like, no, it's
that's
completely
not the same
different.
thing as like a paid gig in a club, or you got to sell tickets and it's a percentage and the whole thing. You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people do have that mindset of thinking that buskers are only out there for the money, maybe. And
maybe some of them are.
Maybe some of them are, for sure. We're all in different situations, and the money, like I said, is nice. It helps. I'm not complaining about it. But I, of course, like do other things, and it's a plus. But I just want to connect with people and like meet new people and have them meet me.
Okay, so the TikTok started between this time too, between the last podcast and now. What made you did you just start putting videos on there and just like, what was there like more thought behind it than just like, oh, I'm gonna make a TikTok? Like, what was the
Well, I made the TikTok because someone actually advised me to do that. They were like, you know, TikTok is really getting big now and whatnot. Like, you need to like utilize all the different platforms. Like, you should really do it. Hashtag For You page, this, that. And I'm like, all right. And I literally created my TikTok, and then they were like, go to the viral sounds, whatever. And I went to the viral sounds, and there was this, I think it was a Doja Cat song, I don't even know. And I was literally in my car before I went into a shift at work, and I just like sang a cappella like this line of whatever was going viral. And my first video, I literally had just gotten the app. I think it reached like 50,000 views, and I was like, oh, whoa. And then I was like gaining some followers, so I was like, interesting. That was an interest, like, because it's very hard sometimes of course with like these platforms to like gain like the momentum.
Yes, yeah.
Especially like even like Instagram, I don't know. But in this case,
that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal. But in this case, I was like, okay. So I was like, let me just keep posting it. And there wasn't any like specific, oh, this is gonna happen at this time. But I'm not gonna lie, I definitely told myself like, yeah, I'm gonna go viral on TikTok. I said that many a times. And I just kept posting like covers or me playing piano. But what really changed it for me was when I started really posting my busking. Because I noticed I posted a busking video like pre-pandemic. It was of me in Times Square, and then there was like these two acro yoga. I don't know how to say that pluralized. Acro yoga.
It was like yoga though?
Acrobat yoga.
Oh, acro yoga. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm like trying to say it like whatever, I'm fucking up. Sorry. But they started doing a whole routine, and it was super cool, and I posted it. And that one did pretty well, and I was like, I feel like there's something there with like maybe showcasing the busking. But then of course the pandemic happened, and I wasn't really out, and then I started going back out, and I was like, I'm just gonna post them to TikTok. And I was like being a little strategic about which song I would post, because I was noticing what was doing well on TikTok. At the time it was Olivia Rodrigo, Driver's License, you know. And I posted.
Did you do that one too?
I did that one, and that was like one of the first ones that was like moving, and I was like, huh. And I was like, let me just keep doing this. And I posted like an Adele, and then that one was moving, and I was like, And I literally said to my friend, I was like, I'm about to go viral on TikTok. Watch this. And then I just kept posting my busking videos, and then the one that really did it was the dance monkey one. And then it just kind of kept like going from there. So I guess in a way, maybe I manifested that. But it wasn't like a specific schedule and strategy. It was just very genuine.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you manifested it, but you also did it. Like, you did the work too. You know, like you did make the posts and you did record the things.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So
there's work that goes into it.
That combined with it together, that's how it happened, I feel
exactly.
like. You know?
I'm traveling to go sing. I don't live in the city, so it's like there's a whole other part of it that sometimes maybe people don't see. So it's not just like, oh, ha, 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 I sing and now I'm going to post it. And it like, no, it there's a lot of energy being put into it for for it to come back. And I've been posting covers for so long that, yeah. But I think one of the main things that really helped was the fact that we were in a pandemic, and I think people were just really like sad in a way. Like they wanted connection, they wanted to hear music, they wanted to feel like they like somewhat normal. Like there is no such thing as normal, but you know, at least feel like connection. And like, you know, the city was like so quiet and like things were just weird and like eerie. And you know, I was out there for the people who come up to me and say like, oh, I needed to hear this. This was refreshing. I haven't heard music, or I haven't heard someone singing in so long. And you know, and then people dancing. And that was really, I feel like what it really was. It's like these genuine moments where people are like dancing, or they're saying things to me that are just like, you're like, oh, wow. Whether it's like mean or really nice, it's so genuine and raw and authentic. You can't even make that shit up. It's like, you know.
Well, what about when
you can, but you shouldn't?
Okay, so all right, so what's the difference between getting a comment on some hate shit and getting somebody just hating on you on this while you're singing, while you're busking? Like, what's the difference between those?
Question.
What's the weight? You know, which one is? Do they have their own pros and cons, or is one worse than the other one? Or does it depend what they say? No,
I really like. No, I don't. That's an interesting question. I feel like the only difference is that if it happens like in the subway or when I'm outside, I just am in person hearing it, because my reaction, well, if I see a comment like on social media, I never respond ever. If it's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to waste my energy to like fight with you or to like defend myself. I don't care. There's only like one time I like responded to something, and I do it in a way that's like, thank you. Like I just did it today. Someone said something about me posting my original like too much and whatnot, and I responded to the comment with a video of me singing my original and just like captioned it, thank you. So like something like that. But anything else, no. I just like, I genuinely kind of laugh. I kind of chuckle. I'm like whatever, on to the next. I don't have time. But in person, I just say thank you. Like literally, I'm just like, thank you. And sometimes I could ignore. It just depends on the situation. Like I've had someone say something, I don't even know what they said, but I just kept singing. I just like ignored it. But in the moments where I'm taken aback, is like, for example, the one that kind of went a bit viral, of the woman saying like, your voice is don't sing anymore. I had just finished the song, so she caught me at a time where like I wasn't technically singing anymore, so I actually heard something and turned around. Or like another video where someone said something to me, I thought they were saying something and I was like I'm sorry, what? And then they said something that was kind of rude, and I'm like, oh, thank you. But if I'm in the zone, I might not even hear it, but my reaction is always thank you. And in terms of the weight, no. I mean, I'm human at the end of the day, but also they're not paying my bills, so I don't care.
It's music. Like, nobody likes all music. It's
subjective, you know what I mean?
Nobody likes all music though, too. Exactly. At the same time, like, as much as, I don't know, I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, I just think it's kind of undeniable a little bit, like, you know, when you're at that level of singing or whatever it is, rapping, writing, whatever it is, when you're at that level, it's kind of undeniable. But I guess, hey, it's like, all right, but also, is this person having a bad day? Like, is something triggering them or something? Do they really actually not like it? Is there something more to the story? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, but that's really reality. You know, everybody has their complex lives going on. So it's like, you can't put any energy into any of that, because that's not what fuels, like, you're only getting better or getting worse. So it's like, you might as well, that's like a binary way of thinking about it, but you might as well get better. So meaning you might as well put all your energy in the stuff and people and things that bring you down the line more.
100%.
So then that would make sense. You can't give energy to the people that are just bringing the bad energy. That just makes no sense, you know?
No, exactly. That won't align correctly. I mean, there's like a few options, right? It's like, oh, someone could say something rude. and then I act like, oh yeah, blah, 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 and I argue with them, right? That's negative energy that I don't need to give. That's taking away from my time to perform.
Thank you's nice and easy.
Or I can go home and cry about it and harp on it, but like, what good is that going to do? Also, like, I might most likely will never see this person again, for one, and two, I still have to keep moving at the end of the day. Like, I have to go like pay my bills and figure out my life. Like, you're not a part of my life. I don't even know you, so your words cannot weigh that heavily on me. Like, you know, if anything, I take the perspective of I feel bad that people can be that like straight up rude, and everyone will say, oh, freedom of speech, you could say what you want. That's true, you could say whatever you want, but like, why would you want to be perceived that way?
But these people aren't coming up to you to your face. They're like walking by like 20 yards away or something, you know.
Exactly.
So like, hey, that's another thing, is like, hey, you're just gonna get on that bus, you know.
Yeah. And I think a good thing to remember, I feel like, for anyone, whether you're in the arts or really whatever you're doing, is that not everyone's gonna like you, and I know that 100%. And when you have haters, in my opinion, it means you're doing something right. And also, again, not everyone's going to like you. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be the most legendary musician. You can be the most, you know, respected scientist. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Someone's not going to like you. It's just the name of the game. Art is subjective. People have opinions. Nobody thinks the same. And that's just like what makes the world go round. So I just think it's important to like not take the negativity and like run with it, but rather like let it fuel you. Like for me, I posted that video, or I post the videos of like those moments because I want to show all sides of it. Not just like, oh, everyone loves me. Like, everyone doesn't love me. Like, some people walk by and they say things that could be considered rude or hurtful or whatnot, but the way I see it is that that person saying that to me only opened more doors for me because I allowed it to be that way. Mm-hmm. If I would have like cried about it or said something mean, it'd be a different situation. But instead I took it as a, hey, I'm going to post this because I'm going to just show the reality of what I'm living and be open and honest, and also try and show, like, maybe you can just like think before you speak a little bit sometimes. Like, yeah, we have freedom of speech, but you know, you never know who's listening, who's watching. When that actually happened, there was like a young girl watching me, standing right in front of me. And I remember one of the first things I thought was like, wow, I can't believe they did that in front of like a young child. Like, it's just not the example you want to set. Like, I feel like you should want to give off a good vibe, and not everyone does, but that's just, I always say, you wouldn't know the good without the bad. You wouldn't know the bad without the good. So
people have to balance out the universe.
It's a challenge. You know, you're going to be challenged.
It's not backed by any facts, but
you're always going to be challenged, and someone's always going to throw something at you, and it's like up to you to be like, okay, how am I going to respond to this? Or am I going to respond? You know, if you meet negativity with negativity, you're just like a big ball of negativity. If you meet negativity with some positivity, move on. Or if you just ignore, you know, it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you react to what happens to you. That's how I feel.
So are you a kind of, okay, so, you know, you've probably heard this, but like respond versus react, have you ever heard that, like people say that?
Yes. And it's so funny when I think about that, because I feel like in my everyday life, if I'm like really comfortable with someone, I can definitely react a little more. But when it comes to my music and all of like the performing, I don't even.
You really have to have like the good like self-control to do a lot of the things that are in. I never thought about this side either. You really do, because you have to have great self-control if you're going to do anything in some kind of like performing sense, or where you're a talent and your name, like, you need your name to stay clean for people to continue to give you opportunities, you know? And in that sense, yeah, like, you just need it to, you could, you gotta watch the name, you know?
No, for sure. I just think there's like a way to, of course, and every situation is like different. If I'm gonna react to something, it's probably gonna be about something personal going on in my personal life. It's not gonna be like, you know, out in the subway or like
anybody
or,
would though.
Or
that's
performing
yeah.
I don't care. You can come up to me and say anything. I'll be like, thank you, okay, and then I'll think about it later, or I won't think about it at all. But like, I'm not gonna give you a reaction because I just don't see why I should feel like I need to like defend myself.
No, you shouldn't.
Why should I have to convince someone like, no, you're wrong, I'm awesome? Like, I'm not gonna talk about that.
I think it's
like,
crazy that people think that though.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I'm not here to change opinions. That's the thing. Like, my job is to not change your opinion. You change your own opinion based on things that are presented to you. So you'll interpret it all, and then you'll go, hey, this is my opinion, and then maybe you'll change it, maybe you won't. But people want to go and say, you're wrong, so you should change your opinion for me. Like, that's what they're actually saying. Like, it's like a selfish thing kind of, where it's like, I don't, you know, like, there's a way to be like, you're just crazy, and there's some outlandish things that people believe. Sure, maybe that's the case in some circumstances, but yeah, I don't know. It's, I love kind of like unpacking those, like the different ways that people kind of go about their
it's very interesting.
And
it's interesting how the things people say or have like the comfortability saying, you're just like, I wouldn't spend my time talking to people like that. But again, you know, to each his own. I hope that, you know, those people find more ways to be positive and maybe be more open-minded. But again, they're just fuel, and that's like how you have to look at it. It's like they're there to fuel you. They're not there to bring you down. They're actually there to bring you up, because how are you going to get better if no one's telling you you suck? You know, and they could literally be like so wrong, but again, it's subjective. So like, not everyone's gonna like what you do, but also you have to have enough like confidence in yourself, and I can't think of the word, but you just have to have
I think
enough
it's healthy
of that.
too. I think it's healthy to have that balance.
Yeah, you have to, especially
like, you can't push that away. Like, you got to just accept it. You got to accept that it exists, and hey, you can take it in and kind of like, I think it's just good. I mean, I feel like if somebody said something and it seems crazy, I mean, there's just certain times when somebody can actually have a criticism and it's like
constructive,
legit, and you're like, oh man, like, and those people, I've always said, they are the best people. If you can have somebody that can actually tell you like, here, like this one thing, I know you can do better here, and it's just not that good or whatever. Like, that honesty, like that real shit, that's hard to come by, you know?
No, for sure.
And so it's like all sides of the spectrum. You need somebody to be honest with you. You need somebody to be like, this is shit. You need somebody in the middle that's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, there's sides of the spectrum. And like, I don't know. This is like a whole people formula that goes into being an artist, being an entertainer, being a performer, that I think is unique.
For sure. I think constructive criticism can be very beneficial. Like, even in the moments where people say things to me, if they had a different approach, it wouldn't sound as rude or something. And then maybe they can give constructive criticism, and then I can say, okay, and then choose to listen to it or not. Because just because someone gives you a critique or gives you an opinion doesn't mean they're right. You know, maybe that's how they feel, but they're one out of like billions in the world. And sometimes I just feel like people are projecting. You can't always trust their intention. Like, why are you telling me this? Why are you saying this? I feel like you really have to trust the vibe and the person who's talking to you, because someone might tell you something that might not even be that helpful, but maybe they think they're being helpful, but they're speaking from their own bitterness, or they're projecting, you know. I just think in general, people have to be very careful with how much they take in and truly like let sink in, you know. You have to have enough confidence, I think, in what you're doing to listen, take it in, but choose to trust yourself more, but also know how to, you know, use the constructive criticism if it fits, if it makes sense.
You start to know what's right for you, I think.
Yeah.
You start to get to know what's right for you, you know, and that's as you can progress through the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like, no, yeah, and I mean, I'm only 27, and I'm still, there's so much I want to do. I'm not done. I'm not even close, but I can still say I'm doing what I love in many ways, and I love that. But I feel like I've heard a lot and I'm not even that old yet, and I feel like I've heard a lot of shit come out of people's mouths, and you're just like, what the fuck?
It's good if you heard it early, so then you're used to it, or you know how to adapt to it by,
especially in this industry. It's like, but I think that's just how it has to be.
Well, that's way different though with when it comes to music that you release. That's a whole different ball game. So what was it like to go from just thinking about or creating songs to then now like releasing a song? Like now do you have plans for that now when you're like, all right, now I need to release another song or do an EP or do an album or collab with people? Like,
I mean, it felt really good to finally release my music because I've been wanting to do it for so long. But, going back to the opinions thing, I think I've said this before, but, well, not on here, but that was something that really prevented me from moving forward. It was because I was listening too much to other people and taking in so many opinions, and then I wasn't trusting myself and saying, I'm ready. And I think everything happens at the time it's supposed to happen. So it felt really good to finally release music. And then after I released The Lottery and I kind of saw what was happening with it, I was like, ooh, this is fun. This feels good. It feels good to finally like be out there, not just like as someone who's like, oh, she sings covers and whatnot, but like, no, but I write, and like I write my songs and I play my piano and I sit in my room and I made this, and I co-produce and whatever. And that's a whole different side of me that I always wanted to show. And like now I am showing that. So it feels good. But in terms of, EP, album, singles, right now I plan on releasing like some more singles. I want to do like a full project. I have enough music. I think I'm just still getting all my ducks in order, if that makes sense. I'm trying to like balance like all these different things, but I just have to keep releasing. So I do have a song that I know I want to be next. So I'm excited for that.
Do you have a name for it that you can release or no?
I feel like I can say it.
This will be out in a month.
It's called, and things can always change, but the song I want to release next is called Trainwreck. Oh, all right. I feel like I have a lot, like that could I'll play it for you after.
Oh, shit. That's what I'm talking about. We got to have a Patreon or something. I keep saying this. We're like, yeah. All right, we got to work on it, folks. Appreciate it. But yeah, I felt the same as just a fan of originally of just busking, then of hearing you like making songs and then releasing songs, and now at that point where you're busking and releasing songs, and now it's so it was cool to kind of see that progression, because I don't know, when you have that voice and then like you said you're doing covers, then it starts to, it's not that people put you in a box, it's like you are a certain way to yourself. So you gotta have to like, all right, I'm going into the song. All right, now I'm going into the marketing realm. Like you're legit like marketing yourself. You're managing yourself. You're going in the city yourself and performing.
Booking myself.
You're booking yourself. You're doing real actual shows as well. All these things, like you would think that you would have got burnt out by now, where you would have been like just maxed out. But I feel like you just must have a way to kind of manage your own way to manage it, like
I don't know how. And that's why I feel like when I say, oh, I know I need to release more, it's like sometimes I feel like I get a little caught up in doing all of those different things. But to be honest, of course I always say it would be great to have like a team, and I do have a team in a sense because I have people who support me, so that's very important in itself. But when it comes to someone who's super close on the, let's say, business side and whatnot, that hasn't happened yet. And I think that's because I'm very, I think it's a number of things. I don't think that everyone sees my vision yet. And I also don't think that I'm super open to every option because I'm kind of picky. Like, I don't really want just anyone around the situation. I really want it to be like a good fit. So until then, I'm more than happy to do it all myself. It gets a little overwhelming, but I like to do things my way. So I'm just like,
I think it's fucking awesome that that's what you did, though, because that's just reality that you can just look at that and know, like, you could just look at different examples of people, know, and kind of get a feel for, like, you may have seen an artist. Maybe you saw an artist busking that was really good, or like that who you started busking with, maybe, and then you obviously listen to songs and you're like, I could do something like this, or you start to have those ideas. So
yeah, I think it's been a cool journey, and I mean, I'm clearly not done.
Oh no, this is the very beginning.
This is the very beginning.
When we did that podcast, it was the very, very beginning. Like,
now it's the very beginning. But it's definitely, I feel like kind of what you were saying before, it's not just like that I'm a singer, songwriter, performer. Like, I am very into the business side of it too, in a way. Like, I'm learning a lot, but in terms of like marketing and strategy, like, there's a lot that I have done and I am doing that when I think about it, I'm like, I mean, even down to my name, there's a very specific reason why, Do you want
to talk about it, or?
Yeah, we can. I mean, well, Nahscha is like a combination of my real name, because that's not my legal name. It's like it's my artist name. But I sat on it for a while thinking like, I don't know if I'm going to use it. I was always trying to think of different names because I love my name, but I didn't want to go by that. And I always had different thoughts, but nothing ever fit. And then one night I thought of Nahscha and I was like, I love that. I was like, just fits. Like, I'm Nahscha. But I just kind of kept it quiet, and then it took a few more months, and then I started going out busking and doing all these things, and I was like, all right, it's time to change it, because one, I was tired of telling people to follow me at my real name. It was too long, and I didn't want to keep building something and going by that and then change it. And when you look up Nahscha, like the way I spell it and everything, there is no Nahscha. I'm the first thing that comes up. So like, it was strategic in that sense, where I wouldn't be completely like lost in the sauce, even my real name. It's like, I looked it up on Spotify and I was like, wow, I'm so happy. And my name is not even that common, but like, I looked it up and I was like,
mine is way more common.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm so happy that I did what I did, because I also always wanted to kind of have a separate thing, like, and it's Nahscha. I'm Nahscha. I always go by Nahscha. It was a little weird at first, but it gets more and more normal every day that goes by. I'm like, yeah, I'm Nahscha. But there's a lot of different reasons why I did that, but that's definitely an important one, because it had to do with strategy.
That's smart, though. That's smart. Like, I think this is the thing people will say.
The name is big.
People will say it's not. And it works when it works. Like, it works when it's good. Yeah. When it's good, it's great. But when it's not good, it's like, there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean,
because you have like more in a band capacity, but if I was to try to think of solo artists, I mean, there's some solo artists with some whack names where you're like, how did you make it? But
yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to say like, oh, the name is no, every situation is different.
Well, that's not what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no right or wrong. Anyone can do what they want. To me, I believe like, as much as not everything is about talent, it's like talent is a percentage of what I'm doing, but everything else is like my strategy and like how I'm doing it. And I'm kind of just like going off of how I feel. But I'm just going to keep doing whatever it is I'm doing and trusting my gut. But for me, the name once I like really put it all together and was like, I looked up Nahscha. The original way I wanted to spell it was taken by someone on Instagram. So I quickly thought of like a new spelling, and I was like, ooh, I love that. No one had it. I looked it up on Google. No person had it. I was like, I'm taking this right now. So
you had to.
And that's what happened.
I think it fits.
I think so.
I saw it, but never realized the transition. I just kind of one day, because I knew that was you, but then I thought one day, I'm like, wait a minute. Was that?
Like, oh, I see what's happening here.
Yeah, well, I'm like, was that there the whole time? Was that always, like, did she always go by that name? Or?
I mean, when I spoke to you, I had it in my mind.
I found your name, and I was like, oh, okay, so it is, yeah, because but I never... I feel like just one day, but I had been watching your videos the whole time.
That's kind of how it was.
It like changed. I'm like, wait, what?
That's literally kind of how it was. One night, I got home I was out busking one night, and I was starting to see like how, the busking was like marketing, and I was really like being seen by people, and like people were following me, and like I was showcasing myself, and I'm like, all right, if I'm going to continue doing this, I have to do it like right. I have to do it differently, not just like, oh, now I really have to like, I'm Nahscha. So it literally happened like in one night. I was just like, boom, I'm doing it, done. I didn't even like say like, oh, I just changed it and just like moved on. I didn't even like say anything.
Yeah, well, you knew you were gonna grow. I mean, it wasn't that like, I'm gonna just stop here.
Nahscha.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nahscha. And now I'm like, hi, I'm Nahscha. So it was weird, but it worked.
You ingrained it now. You embedded it in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Definitely.
Well, that's the artist journey right there.
Yeah,
because it is one.
You gotta live and breathe it,
Mm-hmm. Well, now that's what you're doing, and that's what these last 2 years too have like brought you to. Which for me, I started a business. I wouldn't even have a business. I just grinded every day and made the thing, and like. That's just what I'm doing,
Yeah.
So it's fucking crazy. Like, I know a lot. Like, the bad that happened is bad, but there were like opportunities. Like every single thing that just shows you that every single thing creates different opportunities for different people in different ways, like positive or negative. Maybe there was more negative.
That's what I was saying before.
But it's positive too, and that's not a net negative. I think it's easy to look at things like, all right, that's just overall bad, like whatever it is, you name it. But
yeah, it's all about perspective, and it's exactly correct in my mind. I agree with you. It's like the same thing I was saying with people being negative towards you or saying hateful comments. It's like you can find the positive in that if you choose to, because there is positive in that, and it will bring you to something else positive. Like, you really never know what one door is opening for another door and for another door. It's like endless. That's just kind of like the game of life. But I think the more positive you are and the more like you take it on the chin, you'll just see that you get more positive karma from it. I just feel like that's kind of
I believe in
and
that.
Some things, of course, like I'm not saying that everything is just so easily taken on the chin, like, oh, okay, like there's some really hard shit to go through, and life is not easy, so you gotta find the perspective depending on what situation you're in. Not every situation is the same, but I do think that can apply to pretty much everything. It's just a lot harder in some situations than others, maybe, but I think we all just need to trust the process. Even the bad things.
Be a good person, trust the process. I feel like there's not a lot of cheat codes. There's shortcuts. There is shortcuts for sure. Like, I won't say there's not. Like, people will say there's not, but I'd be like, I can think of some,
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
So I think there's no way to cheat it though. Really, like, you can cheat it, but for sure you'll go like 10 steps forward really fast, and then you'll go like 8 back.
That's true.
So then you'll be like, or 12 back, and you're like, shouldn't have cheated that.
Shortcuts,
cool. Like, you're gonna spend money on a shortcut. You're gonna spend money, or you're gonna spend time. You're gonna spend something. So if
you cheat, you don't know it's real. You know what I mean? If you cheat on a test, like how much of the information do you really know?
Yeah, well, you obviously fucking don't know.
So it's like if you cheat and find a shortcut, what's really
but
real.
It will only be in one way, though. That's the thing, as like we were describing before, which is the fact that it takes so much to put an artist together and create a business around it, or create a life around it, a career or whatever. There's a lot there, so you wouldn't be able to. You may be able to cheat an avenue, but you won't be able to cheat the entire thing, because there's so many different pieces that need to come together, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So if there was a shortcut or a cheat code, it would just be in one little part of it, you know? But they exist, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like people spend a lot of time trying to just work on those or some shit, or find those or create those, but I've done it before. I'm like, how can I do this faster? But it's like, sometimes you just got to go through the whole thing, you know? You can't.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, every day I'm like, oh, can I just get there already? Oh, can I just have this? Like, of course, I feel like everyone's going to have that mindset of like, I just want to have it right now. Like, I don't want to wait. I want to rush it. But at the same time, that's just not really the way it works, at least not realistically. And like, you know, because that makes me think of when people are like, oh, their success happened overnight. It's like, that's not a thing. Like, people are putting so much energy into what they're doing, and you might think that it happened overnight, but really it's like hours and hours and years of work being put into something. And then when it does finally like snowball into something crazy, it's very easy to think like, oh wow, that happened so quickly. It's like, no, like, this was a process, trust me.
Yeah, and there's very few though as well that where there wasn't some kind of background that oh, I made the videos on here in the past, or I did this, or I did something. It's like most of these people know what the fuck they're doing. Like this is a thing where, because I think it's funny, it's like you try to make like a TikTok or something, and you're like, you make like 10 of them, and you're like, what the fuck, like it doesn't work, dude. Like, it doesn't work. Like, I made like 10.
It works.
I got 1,000 views, bro. And it's just like, all right, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a way to do it. There's a way to like have certain content or whatever. Like, and hey, if you have talent, that's one way. There's different verticals on the platform. There's the talent vertical. There's the comedy. There's
so many things.
Whatever. Every single
Cooking.
topic. Every topic.
Inspiration, like literally anything. I mean, people post their cat and get like millions of followers, millions of views, and you're like, whoa.
And you'll see the lowest quality too.
Crazy.
You see a guy in his like bathroom. It'll be like, there'd be like the green screen thing behind him, and he'll be like explaining, maybe not bathroom, maybe it's like bedroom, but he'll be explaining it's just something, some kind of chart or graph, and it's like the lowest, like he's on an Android from like 2014, and it's like 720p or whatever. That looks like 720p now looks like what like 140 was. I feel like our eyes have just kind of went off on that, but like I feel like our eyes have like adapted now. We want like crisp everything. But
no, that's true. I mean, I feel like with technology, you know, we're just we're used to like a certain level of things, and we're like, we want it like that.
But anyway, those people do on TikTok. They do like, you could do it. You could look like anybody, and you can have any sort of production, and you can.
I mean, I always say there's no right or wrong. There's no, oh, this will work, this won't work. Like, I don't believe in that. I think that if you think like that, it's not gonna work. But if you choose to like believe in what you're doing, and you just keep at it, and you do it with the right like intention, I just don't see how it won't eventually work. You know what I mean? Like, even some people post one TikTok and boom, it goes crazy. Some people post one YouTube video, boom, it goes crazy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't working on it. Some people
win the lottery too, you know? It's like,
exactly.
But it's, who do you know? You know, it's like, this is such a small, the fact that it would be so much worse if you didn't work for it, because then you wouldn't understand why.
No, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a beautiful thing to go through that process. I mean, even for me, like, again, I still have a long way to go and like a lot more things I want to do. But a lot of my days I'm like, I'm just like, you know, I get that doubt, or I get like really overwhelmed. But at the same time, I want it like this, because I want to feel that I already feel accomplished in a lot of ways, even though I still have a lot I want to do. But you have to also pat yourself on the back and not be so hard on yourself, because that's important too. Just say that. But I am happy it's this way because it's shaping me, and this is how, even right now, who I am is because of where I came from or because of what I've been through. So even in this experience, it's like it's just gonna feel that much better when I know how I got there, you know? So I think that's important to like really have that to hold on to, I think.
Can I do a switch on you real quick?
Go for it.
Can I do a little left turn? Were you singing Britney the other day? Did I see? Well, who was it?
On my Instagram?
No, it wasn't Britney. It was a Britney song, was it?
On Instagram?
Yeah, it must have. Yeah, it must have been. And you were on stage.
It was Britney.
It was a Britney song. I forget.
It was Toxic.
Toxic. Yeah. I remember that song from like it's like a class project or something. I had it like, and I always remembered it.
Addicted to you.
Obviously from back in the day too, when it actually came out. But when I saw that, and I'm like, damn, no, I feel like, let's just bring it back, man. Like, let's bring it all back. Like, that's where I'm at.
That's one of my
bring back
favorite
like all
things
the pop,
to do. Yeah,
everything.
like even when I'm busking or really whatever I'm doing, even when I'm if I'm singing in a restaurant, like my set list or the songs I sing, I feel like it's like very much like all over the place, but in a very awesome way, in my opinion. That's how I feel, and that's how I'm gonna keep it, because I gotta love it to do it. But you know, it's like Amy Winehouse, or then like Fleetwood Mac, or the Cranberries, or Ariana Grande. Oh, and then it's Elvis, and it's Dolly Parton, and then Britney Spears, and it's just like, oh, Dua Lipa, and like, it's just, I love that. But it's also about nostalgia, you know, like what's nostalgic, because there are certain songs you just hear it and you're like when I'm busking, I love to sing, like some of my favorites are like Bryan Adams' Heaven, like the baby you're all that I want, you know, when you're lying here in my arms. It's a great one. And then like Fergie, Big Girls Don't Cry, or Every Time We Touch I Get. These are like certain songs, and there's so many of them, but I kid you not, you sing it and people are just like, oh, I haven't heard that in so long. Or like,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm like a huge fan of all these songs.
Yeah.
I just want to hear them again for some reason. Like, it's just, the music is amazing like that. It's weird.
But that's,
you don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized once I listened to all my music that I listened to before, and I'm like, I'm over that music. That's not true. I'm not over it. I want to listen to it again. I don't even know why.
I don't think you ever truly get over it. I think when a song really sticks, it's like it never gets old, especially when, you know, because sometimes if a song has been around for so long, maybe you don't listen to it as much, but also songs are always attached to a memory, you know, and that's like, I think one of the coolest things in my opinion is that you can hear a song and it can just bring you back to a moment or to a smell. I don't even know. You could like, maybe you were like in the kitchen cooking when you heard this song, and like now you're like thinking about that, or oh, maybe this is the song that was really special to you and someone who was special to you in some way. And like I don't know, I really just believe in that. And I feel like when I'm busking, I wrote it in a caption one time, but I feel like sometimes I unknowingly sing the songs that people need to hear, and I don't even know how I do it. It's just like there's some kind of like energy and like connection happening, and it's very interesting, but it's very rewarding in a way, because that's really what it's all about, is like to bring good energy. Like I almost feel like I get to be kind of like a vessel or like a messenger in some way. I don't know if that sounds weird, but that's how I feel sometimes. Like sometimes people come up to me and tell me certain things, and I'm just like, I get like, it makes me emotional, where I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know you were going to say that, but I'm so happy that I was able to give that to you. But I had no idea, you know, I'm just out here. I don't even know why I picked that song, but I did. And like, you're standing here and it meant that. And it's just interesting. But music, it's like, oh, it's the best. It's like the universal language, you know?
You're singing, but you're also DJing in that scenario too. Kind of.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. I'm picking everything as I go.
Do you look at it when you're busking like a set list?
No, I don't look at a set list.
It's random.
It's just random. It's just like.
But you have like a flow kind of that's unconscious a little bit. Like you're saying, like you have this kind of, you just pick, like the song just kind of picks itself, but like you choose a song, like, all right, that's the song. I know it. Let's do that one.
Yeah, sometimes I want to try new songs. Sometimes I really am just singing it because I love it and I feel like singing it. I can go out there and be like in a mood, or I feel a certain way. Maybe I feel sad that day. Maybe I feel something and I'm just like, I love this song. I want to sing it.
You're going to catch the sad people on that day.
Yeah, sorry.
But that would be good.
But I sing happy stuff too.
Yeah, you do everything.
I do both.
You do this a really great spectrum from the old school to the new. Yeah. It's like you must appreciate the old music too.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I appreciate like all music. I love music. I love singing, and I just I think one of the coolest things is, like I was saying before, not to sound like a broken record, but just the fact that music can, like, there's like memories attached to it, and there's reasons why we might love a song, and it makes us think about something, and I don't know, it's just, it can feel very cosmic almost, if that makes sense. It's like another language. I don't know, there's something very, very rewarding, like cool about it and rewarding about it. And
that can be your job.
I feel like I sound like such a
no.
I'm like, yeah, and the stars align and everything, but
no, but I'm saying, yeah, that could be your job actually.
I feel like it is. Yeah. I mean, to be honest,
no, not you. It is your job, but I'm saying it could be somebody's job.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and to touch on that, I feel like it is because, to be honest, I look at it like that. I'm not really even that much of like I want everyone to look at me. Like, I'm not out there for attention. Like, people could look at it and be like, oh, you just want attention. I'm like, no, it's really not even like that. I'm actually super awkward in a way. Like, I don't even, like, I'm very, like, introverted. I can be the most extroverted, introverted person at the same time. I can talk to anyone. I like to have conversation. I like to make connection. But at the same time, I'm, like, super shy at the same time. So it's a weird thing. And, like, even, like, performing, it's kind of that same vibe where I'm like, I don't even want everyone to like look at me in a sense, but they do because of what I do. But I feel like I'm always pushed to do it because I know that by doing it, it's not for me. It's like for the connection and for other people. Like, I don't know. And of course I, love it and want to make a career out of it. And I think rightfully so, but that just kind of comes with the territory. But the main reasoning is like, I feel like I need to be doing that. Like, I'm kind of like a musical messenger.
and you also could just do it. Like, you wouldn't even have to have like a meaning behind it. Like, you could just do it. Like, you could, no matter your life, probably just do that. Like, even if your life wasn't exactly what it is right now, you could still do that.
For sure. But then, exactly, like, right, I could say, oh, I'll just, get a degree in something else and do a job that's completely out of music, and then I'll just sing for fun. But there's like a part of that where I'm like, I can't do that. I know I have to.
Well, that's why you are where you are right now, because you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I can. I'm like, there's something like keeps pushing me out there, even though I feel so uncomfortable sometimes.
Well, do you
just
think
keep doing it?
Do you think it's anything else, or do you think it's like all you?
Oh, I don't think it's all me. I think it's like, I mean, of course, in a sense, it's me because this is me doing it. But I do think, I believe in energy, and I believe in like, somewhat of a destiny. And like, I believe that we're on the path we're on for a reason. And I think we have to trust the signs, and like, I don't know. I think we just have to listen.
Yeah.
And I try to listen very, very closely, and it keeps telling me to sing.
Yeah. And, well, do you think you kind of get in touch or in tune, I guess, or whatever, when you're singing or like going in there? That's when you're kind of like channeling. It's like you're channeling something almost. Like,
no,
people call it the muse. That's what they call it. That it just comes. The muse comes to you, and then you just let things happen. And that's the whole thing between like, you can do it on a schedule, or no, it only comes sometimes. And the side of it that's one of these playwrights, or he was a playwright or author or something like that, and I don't even know the guy's name. I just remember this quote from him, but he said that inspiration doesn't always strike, but luckily like always strikes at 8:30 a.m. when I sit at my desk or something like that, you know? So that's one side of it where I feel like some people can just do it, like all like have this weird like large span of time, you know? And then I think other people are more like, I'm gonna do it when. Thank you so much for watching this episode with Nahscha. I do have to jump in here and apologize. I actually lost 2 of my camera angles right in the middle of this interview, so luckily we did have one backup. The quality is not amazing, but it definitely is good enough to continue watching the episode. So I just want to apologize here, let you know that this is what happens when you try to go without a producer, and it just emphasizes the value of having a team. But right now, got to get back to this episode. Appreciate you bearing with us. Thanks. I need to do it, and those people are great. Or when I can do it, like when I kind of feel it, and then those people are great because then they make great work while they're doing that. So I don't think you can put that in like a one-size-fits-all thing. I think everybody's different on that one.
For sure. I feel like I relate to that more with songwriting, because sometimes that's something where I'm like, okay, if I'm not like in it, it's hard for me to just do it. But with singing, it's like I never stop singing, honestly. I don't even mean to do it. Sometimes I'll just be singing and I'm like, oh, was I singing that? I didn't even know. I mean, I've heard it all ever since I was younger. Oh, you never stop singing. Oh my God, stop singing. Well, I didn't stop, so it's just like, it just comes very natural to me. So it's one of those where it's like, I can just sing at any time. Maybe I sing too much. Not too much, it's never too much, but I meant that more in terms of like sometimes I should rest my voice, but I can literally be singing for like hours, like at a gig, and then I'm getting in my car and I'm like, la 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 la, like still singing. I'm like, can you just chill out for a second? But I can't.
Even I don't put the music on after I do like a DJ gig or something. I'll have no music, just silence. So you're in here on a deeper plane than most people. You know,
I do have moments like that too. Yeah, sometimes.
Well, it's a balance. Yeah, no, me too. There's obviously I put music on sometimes too. Well, you gotta be a little crazy to do. You know, I agree. What you're doing, I think. I agree. Not that you are, but I just think everybody. Like you aren't. I don't think extra. Than there's some artists that are crazy. Yeah. That are another level to it. Yeah. Because I think there's an artist thing where you can go off, like a little bit of extra, like. You know, a little out there. You can go a little out there. And then there's another one where you can see yourself going out there, but you're like, I'm going to stay out over here because I think it's better. So everybody operates on a spectrum in that respect, too, in terms of artists. I feel like some are, like, so far out, and you're like, where are you, bro?
I definitely agree with that. I think it's I guess, very personal to an individual's journey or like who you are or what you're doing. I don't know. I guess everyone has their own way of like presenting themselves and dealing with it, because at the end of the day you do have to be, in my opinion, very much intense about it in a lot of ways, because it's not, you know, you're trying to some of the, like, the main goal is, you know, your artistry, to put your music out there. And there's so many reasons why you want to do it, but you want people to listen and you want people to, like, really feel it. So there's this whole aspect of, like, the world is so big and there's so many people, so how do you set yourself apart and how do you get the audience you want, and how do you prove, like, I'm gonna, like, I do this, you're gonna listen to me, you know? You're gonna listen to my music, or you're gonna love what I do, or you're gonna believe in me, you know? It's like you have to believe in yourself in order for anyone to look at you and say, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, if someone were to come up to me and be like, your voice is you suck, and I'm like, really? You think so? You know, and I'm like, you really think that? Fuck. And I, like, cry, and it's like, I'm not convincing anyone anything, you know? If I'm just like, thank you, move on. To me, I convince myself, I don't care about that. I'm gonna keep going. I don't care what you say. Watch. You'll see, you know? I think that, like, you have to have that attitude. So I do think there's, like, a balance, but sometimes I think it just, you know, maybe get a little in your head in this world.
Oh, I think everybody does, but especially when you're making art in your head.
And I feel like that's why sometimes artists like take it to such a level because at the end of the day, or at least for me, I feel like, you know, there's so much to like think about for everyone. You know, we all have a lot of thoughts, but this is a very vulnerable experience. You really put yourself out there in like ways that some people would never, and sometimes I don't even understand how. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so uncomfortable. Like this is I just want to go to sleep and hang out with my dog. But I don't know, I feel like you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. But I just think it's like a very vulnerable experience. I think a lot of the arts, you know, is that way. And you put a lot of yourself out there. Even like with music, you know, with your writing, it's like personal, so.
Yeah, but you also have to have physical cardio to, I feel like, to walk around. Like, how far are you walking when you're, you know? I was just thinking about the food. You talk about the mental a lot, but there's some physical with this carrying the speaker.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my god, yeah, the speaker.
Oh, standing, and how long are you standing for? You know.
That's true. Yeah, the speaker can definitely like. At first, you're like, oh, not so bad, but then like it can really like take a toll.
That's like a strong like spine, or you know,
yeah,
like
it can really take a toll like on your neck and shoulders, especially I'm a short girl. But how far am I walking? I don't know. It really depends. Like, you know, there's moments where I'm, you know, just like walking through the subways or even running. Like I've had times where I'm like running to the spot because I see it's open, so I just like run because I'm like, oh, the extra 5 seconds, it could change everything. What if someone else gets there first? So I'm like running with my speaker, and it's kind of funny to think about. But and then, yeah, I usually park somewhere and then I walk. Sometimes it could be like a 20-minute walk, sometimes a 15-minute walk. But then in the subways, it's always like, if the spot's taken, gotta walk somewhere else. And then if that, you gotta take the train, go somewhere else, go outside, go in. So, it definitely has a physical aspect to it as well. And usually I'm standing there for, if no one, you know, takes the spot or is like permitted to be there and I don't get told to leave, I usually am like 2 to 3 hours. You know, your arm could start to hurt from holding the microphone.
Do you have to know how to like make sure your voice doesn't get messed up? Like, did you have to train for that or train your vocal cords or something?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Coastal Carolina University and I got my degree in music, and while I was there I did the vocal performance track, so that was like my main thing, and I was trained classically, and I had my lessons with my vocal coach, Dr. Jones, shout out to him, every week for 4 years. And I mean, I'd been singing my whole life regardless, but this is kind of what you're asking about, because this taught me a lot of technique, and I try my best to incorporate all of that all the time, and I should definitely do a lot more of my old warm-ups and stuff more consistently like I used to, but I still do them, and I still it's still like ingrained in my brain. So yeah. I would say that there is, you know, that is important, because you don't want to walk away from singing for 3 hours and be like, I can't talk. Like, that's not healthy. There is a technique, and you have to make sure that you're like singing correctly, because if you're not singing correctly, you're just gonna like hurt yourself, and I don't see how that's fun.
Yeah, so very essential, the vocal coach. Pretty essential, it seems, to learn how to sing correctly. Can you do it on like YouTube or something, or?
Maybe. I never did it on YouTube. I do think there's like, with a lot of things, there's like a natural ability to do certain things, but I do think that of course you can learn. Is the I mean, I think a vocal coach is definitely good.
If you want to take it seriously, it's important.
Yeah, like I've even been thinking like I should go back, I should get one, just because, like, not because I'm like, oh, I need to get a vocal coach, but it's just to like keep having someone kind of, I guess, like to take accountability or be accountable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yourself,
like accountability partner almost.
Yeah, exactly. Just to be like, okay, I'm going.
That's kind of what like a trainer and a like that's what they do. Like that's what they do. They make sure they go, did you do that? No.
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah,
and they
like,
ask you, and they're like, whatever. Like that's just like one example of a coach or whatever.
Yeah,
but like in that case, you need somebody to bring you through. It really helps having another human to like.
For sure,
facilitate.
I feel like I'd be, you know, it'd be very strange of me to be like, I'm I'm so good, I never need a vocal coach again. Like, yeah, I have my degree and I learned a lot and I know a lot of technique and I'm very confident in it, but at the same time, I have no problem with saying, like, I would love to, like, take the lessons because it's structure, you know? It helps with that, like, mental structure. So do I think it's important? I definitely think it can help. I think technique is important. Bless you.
Thank you.
However you learn it, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you you can't learn it on YouTube. Maybe you can. I didn't try. But I definitely think technique is important. I think technique is important. And, like, when you go to the gym and you work out, if you don't have the right technique, you could really hurt yourself. So it's kind of like that. If you're just going to... If you sing without any technique or any, like, awareness of how you're using your voice, you might really hurt yourself. You know?
Yeah, I think it's good for MCs, too.
Yeah,
I mean... That, at least in my experience, I haven't really stressed out my voice that much doing it. I have when I've done it a lot in a small amount of time, for sure. But I always, because of that, because there were times when I stressed out my voice, I wanted to know about that. Because I said, I'm probably not doing this right. Like, there could be a way that I could change something to make it not strain. Or, you know, like you said with the form in the gym, like, I, like, messed myself up. From years of not doing proper form and stuff like that, you know? So that's the mentality I'm in now for stuff. I'm like, how can I get somebody to, you know, I don't have a coach or like a life coach or anything like that, or like business coach. I don't have any one of those. But for these certain verticals or areas like you can that you have in your life, you want to, especially with something like that, the best people all have these people, and they'll have like 10 of them. Yeah. You know, like the people. So that just makes you realize, like, invest resources. How people get further and successful is they invest resources on things that are a higher value, that then bring them a higher value. Yeah. So it could be a higher value skill, or like a better skill, or an improved skill, but they don't focus on they don't keep doing the low level shit over and over again. They start doing the higher level stuff. So that, I mean, for you it's more of a maintenance, but I feel like, you know, because you've done it before and went to school and stuff, but if somebody was like starting out, that's what you'd want. You know, because it would really, like, kind of coming back to the shortcuts a little bit. For sure that's a shortcut. There's no way that's not, because there's somebody there. They're not going to know. They're not trying to make you. They're just trying to help you, you know? Like, they're not trying to, you don't have to become them. They're just trying to guide you. That's definitely a shortcut. Because things just go faster when somebody who did it before is like, nah, man, try it this way. Oh, shit, it worked.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes all you need is for something to click in your brain and you're like, oh, that's how I do that. That's how I use it. And then, yeah, in a sense, that could be considered a shortcut because you're like, oh, well, now I know how to do it. But until it clicks, you're like, you might not do it right. But that's why, yeah, I think it is very beneficial to at least in this sense, like, maybe lessons can't hurt. I mean, well, they can if you're not taking it from the right person.
This is just
find a good vocal coach.
That was a personal question for me because I'm like interested.
And warm up.
And warm up.
Yeah.
So that's essential.
Warming up is definitely important.
It's like anything though. Like same with that. Like you have to warm. If you're lifting heavy weights and not warming up, just wait.
Yeah, I mean, if you're about to go play a game of football and you don't warm up, like, you know, like there's always some kind of warm up someone needs to do what they do.
Yeah, no, it applies to that too.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely important.
So in the next 6 months, year, what is it looking like? Where are the plans? Are we staying? Listen, it's working. Things are working, you know? Like, it's one step at a time, for sure, but it's obvious that you do have fans that love your music and love your videos, and you know, so there's traction. Not to like put any, not that that's like pressure, but I'm just saying now that as an artist, listen, like, I know how it is, you know, I know how it might feel. I don't know how you feel, but I know how it might feel. So there's that. So that's why especially why I asked that question, because it's hard to, sometimes it's really hard to like think about. Sometimes I don't want to like map a lot of shit out, you know. It can make me feel like again,
nothing's guaranteed, right?
Yeah, or it can make you feel like boxed in or something like that. You know, when you now you lost your creativity because you were like, your creativity is supposed to be supposed to have creativity and options too, you know. But yeah, I'm interested in like what you're what you're planning.
Well, I mean, I definitely think it's good to set goals. I think everyone does it a little differently, but I mean, for me, I just think that I plan to release more music. I plan to keep busking. I plan to keep doing as many gigs as I can and putting my face out there in as many ways as I can, and just keep, like, you know, taking the opportunities as they come and if they fit, you know, because I'm like, honestly, it's so hard to say what's going to happen because things change so quickly. Like, sometimes I'm sitting there one day, next day I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to do that. So I really don't know, but my main thing is I plan to just keep releasing music and keep writing and keep, I want to get some merch. Yeah, I want to do, I don't know. It's a hard question.
No, it is. And it's not like there's not really a right answer there. But I think it's interesting, though, that you do have an interest in that business side of things and, like, the career side of things. Because I think that's kind of hard.
It's so important. Yeah.
It just gets lost easily.
Yeah, I definitely, I just think it's so important because there's just so much to it. You're not, again, it's not all talent and it's not all songs and whatnot. I mean, everyone says, yeah, having a really good song helps. For sure. It's good to have good music, but what is good music? I don't know. Everyone likes what they fucking like. But you're dealing with...
That's taste. That's just taste.
Yeah, you're dealing with the reality of the world, which is that, you know, almost everything is like a business these days. You're, like, marketing yourself. Social media in itself is like a resume. So I just think it's important to, I guess, like, hone in on that side of things to really understand, like, why am I doing it this way? How will it help if I do it this way? But that's not to say that you can't just, like, try things, because I do a lot of things sometimes. I'm like, oh, shit, that was cool. But then if I see something works, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do it again and again. And if then something else works, I'm going to go for that. I'm just going to listen to what's working, what's not working. But yeah, I think the marketing side of it, to me, is really important because I feel like, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I feel like there's so many situations where, you know, you can pay someone to market you. You can do certain things that can be like a shortcut, right? Or, I don't know, but sometimes can you really trust certain people? If it's a really good company, yeah, I'm sure you can. There's a lot of people who do their job very well, so I'm not taking anything away from anyone. But, you know, in my opinion, me standing out on the streets and seeing people from all over the world in real time is more effective than me giving you my information and then you just, like, throwing me in a fucking algorithm and then, like, I don't know. Like, maybe that could help, but that shouldn't be the only thing you do, in my opinion. It's like, I want to meet real people. I want the same way, like, music has a memory attached to it, like a song, right? It's like, I want to have a memory attached to when people find me or see me. So, like, if they see me on the street and they follow me or they know me from that, it's like, that's the memory that's attached to it. It's like, oh, I remember when I saw her singing at blah, blah. It's like real moments, real time. It's authentic. And I think, like, you can't put a price tag on that. So I think that's how I view it. It's, like, super important to me to do things that way, to do it, like, genuinely and authentically.
People remember how you affect them, and you affect people.
Yeah, whether it was that they hated me or liked me, but that's fine.
It's an effect.
It's an effect. Exactly. And again, it's in real time and it's right in front of me, and, you know, I can't, you know, I feel like certain things you might question, like, is this real? Like, is this company doing everything correct? Like, you know, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, there are situations where you might pay for things or people do. I don't
and
know.
Most of the time in good faith. Like you're just trying to evolve. You're trying to move forward. You're trying to get some plays. You're trying to get out there. You're trying to market. You're trying to get in front of people.
For sure. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I'm not against that. Me personally, that's not how I have done what I've done. But that's me personally. And I personally like it that way. And I'm not saying I won't ever put money into things, because that would be completely wrong of me to say, because there will come a time when I will. Or, I mean, I do put money into things by investing in myself, but I mean specifically throwing money and saying, like, okay, market me now. I haven't done that. Everything I've been doing has just been, like, me with my sign and my speaker and social media. And to me, that has been a game changer for me, and that's really important to me. I don't want to question whether or not the people who like what I'm doing are real or not. I want to know, oh, this is real.
It's organic too, like you're doing it organically. You don't have to do the ads. You know?
Yeah.
Like these platforms are giving you reach and like engagement that people pay a lot of money for.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I've tried it before, but a long time ago.
I've tried it too.
When I was like, this is like way before I released music, and when I was just like posting covers on Instagram, like, you know, you get advice for some people, you try some things. I tried it. I mean, I put like $20 into something. I didn't like do anything crazy, but it's just not how I want to.
I used to sell marketing to artists. Like,
oh yeah, that's what.
But it like wasn't. I wouldn't have bought it, you know?
Sorry, Sully. I'm like saying all this shit and you're like...
Oh, no, I didn't believe in it.
Oh,
That's why I couldn't sell it.
Got it.
Well, that's why I do what I do now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that I never sold anything that I didn't believe in. I did.
Yeah.
I have. It's not that I didn't believe in that. Like, I knew what it did. But what it didn't do what I was kind of telling people it did. Like, so imagine, like, you know, you're going to set this up. This is how they worked, you know, it was like the follower things. You pay for your name to be in a giveaway on a page, you know, and then the people have to follow you to be in the giveaway, to do the giveaway, right? So that's how it would work, and you would just pay like $5,000 for that or whatever. So it would actually be real people who were following you.
Yeah.
But it wasn't people that wanted to. It was people that were forced because they wanted the other thing. They didn't want you.
Exactly.
So it was this weird thing. So, like, that's why I couldn't do it. So then I had to do... Then my life just went in this direction of podcasts because it makes sense. Then I realized I was kind of good at explaining it to people. So then I was like, oh, shit, okay. And I wasn't good at explaining why you should get 10,000 random followers, so...
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because I was kind of explaining what I was talking about and making it a little more detailed, but yeah, that's basically what I was talking about. It's just kind of doing things that way, which to each his own, no judgment, no right or wrong, but it's not for me.
It can work, like, it will work, it will do the thing.
Yeah.
But you gotta think, you
gotta think longevity.
Long game.
You know? I'm trying to start from the inside out, not from the outside in. Like, I don't want to just, like, be like, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that might sound like mean, but that's just how I feel. I don't want to start from the outside in. I want to go from the inside out. I don't want to, like, further myself when I'm not ready to, if that makes sense.
Well,
like,
if you're messed up, you can't go out there and go do really what you got to do, you know? So, like, you would have to get yourself straight first for you then to go out there and express the energy, because then the energy will be weird.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, it's already hard enough when it is real. So I don't even know, like, I already have enough of my moments where I'm like, oh my God, how? When? What do I do? So if I wasn't sure, I'm sure it'd be even worse, because I would feel like, you know, social media can be very unhealthy. So I just, it's already hard enough when it is all there. Like, just because you get a lot of views, you go viral, like, doesn't mean that everything is gonna be perfect from there on out. You know, there's still, like, a lot of work to put in. There's still a lot to keep up with. It's, like, very up and down, it's not, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
What does your family think about what you do, like your busking and everything, and like, do they support your whole singing journey? Like, do they play music and do that stuff? Are they different or?
Yeah, I mean, well, to answer your question before, I'm one of 8. Sully asked me earlier how many siblings I had.
8.
So I have 7 siblings. I'm the 8th. You know, we're all very different. We are definitely musical. Like, one of my brothers, David, he is insane at guitar, and he's a songwriter as well. And then my brother Israel's amazing at piano, and then all my sisters sing a little bit, but we have very different voices. And then my other brothers can carry a tune, so, like, you know, but my brother David put out an album, and he still writes and, like, does music, but I'm really, I guess, going full force with it in a lot of different ways. And I think they all, like, they support me. I mean, I don't know.
We don't have to go down this, like, too far, but what was it? It must have been a different experience having 7 siblings, you know?
Yeah.
Like, are they all far apart from you in age-wise, or are you guys all closer?
A little bit. I'm 27. The oldest is, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think, like, 38.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
No, it's okay. I'm literally terrible with, like, all of their ages and everything. There's too many of them. But I'm pretty sure he's, like, 38. And so, you know, God bless my mother, but she had us all in, like, the span of, like, 11 years or something. So that's a lot of babies.
God bless.
Yeah. I don't know how. But, you know, it's interesting. It sounds like so many people. You're like, oh, I'm one of 8. But being from one of 8, especially with the way that we have all evolved, I guess, it doesn't feel like a lot because we're all so distant in a sense. Like, I have a sister in South Africa, I have a sister in Texas, I have a sister in Jersey, I have a brother in Kentucky, another brother in Brooklyn, a brother in Manhattan, a brother in Jersey. So, like, we're all over the place. So I think it's always been very interesting coming from, like, having that many siblings, but then at the same time we're very, like, independent and, like, we're just, like, doing our own thing. So that's why it's, like, I feel like everyone supports what I do. No one really tells me what to do. I just do what I do. But there's definitely support there for sure. Like, they know that I'm doing
I look at it as, like, the fam support. It's almost just, like, it's its own support. It just kind of lives on its own.
Yeah, some things are not said, but I know that they're felt, you know.
Exactly, that's the thing.
So.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's not the same, like, but some people have, like, ultra fam support, and they have, like, crazy where, like, showing up to every single thing, and it's like, yo, I appreciate, like, parents who do that too, you know. Like, everybody, once again, everybody's different, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, none of my family has actually seen me busk.
Not even passing by. You got 7 of them at any given time that could be walking through, you know?
Well, actually, my brother one time did get off the train, and I was out there singing, but I had, like, I sang, like, one song and just finished, and then he walked up, and I was like, oh, whoa, hey, this is random. But other than that, none of them have seen me busk, and then, you know, some of them haven't even really seen me perform. Like, my sister just did my hair and makeup for my show last week, and that was, like, the first time she'd actually really seen me, like, sing live. And then, like, my brother came. So there's definitely support there, you know. But for the most part, I just do it, and then if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't.
Did you know that you were going to do, like, I know you said that you didn't in the pandemic, but, like, did you kind of know that you were going to do the full-time music? Was that a plan, like, earlier on?
I mean, that was always the goal, and it still is always the goal.
Since when was the goal?
Oh, I mean, forever.
Like, since you were a kid, or?
Yeah, I always wanted to just be singing and, like, just do music. And then I always done a lot of different jobs, like serving, and especially even throughout college. I also served. I sang as a singer in a church. I worked at the gym, but I also was, like, in bands and doing the national anthems and, like, getting paid for that, and, like, so I was always working, And I always knew that, of course, this is what I wanted to do full time, but it was always, how do we get there? You know, it's also a very scary, like, jump. But that's why, you know, the pandemic has been tragic in a lot of ways and has been very hard in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I like to find perspective, and it has brought me a lot of positive things, I would say, because of the pandemic, I was literally forced to stop serving at a restaurant, and then I started going back out and singing, and then it just really kept kind of like snowballing, and I was able to like finally, like, you know, be in the mindset of like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm just gonna keep writing this and like just take it as far as I can go. Like, I'm not gonna, there are many times where I'm like, oh, I should go get a job. Because it's so hard sometimes, you know, there's like a lot of instability within what I do. But at the same time, I believe in what I'm doing. So I just keep going, and I can't say what the future holds, so don't hold that against me. But my plan is to keep doing music full time.
I've now interviewed multiple people that have changed, just completely either went all in or changed what they were doing completely in these last 2 years.
I feel like it was kind of like a reset button in a way. It was like a detox. I don't know. It's very interesting. That's also kind of, you know, what we're talking about with like, it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you react to what happens to you and how you're going to take advantage of these moments. Like, for me, I took advantage of it. I took advantage of the pandemic. I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to sit at home anymore. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do this. And then I noticed what was happening because of that. So, like, I grabbed onto that. And then, you know, a lot of musicians or artists were saying, oh, I haven't performed in so long. And everyone's situation is personal, and you know what I mean? I'm not knocking anyone, and I'm not saying like, oh, well, haha, that wasn't my case, but it is what it is. For me, I'd never been busier, and that was what happened with me. So it was a very interesting, like, whoa, this is ironic. When the world shuts down, I'm like booked. But before, I'm like, how do I make this happen? But I think it gave me that like literally pushed me off the cliff and was like, baby, figure it out.
Damn, it's crazy to think that too. Same with me. I mean, everything's different now, but it's crazy to think that in the beginning of it, what I was doing, I'm like, it actually feels like kind of longer. It feels longer to me, but it feels like it went faster, but now I feel like it's farther away. Yeah,
it's weird. I honestly, I can't even believe all that's happened in a way. It's like so much is
we got so that fast. Just shows you though, people get used to anything, man. Like not anything, but almost you know, in that way, people get used to a lot.
But I'll tell you this, I would rather have it this way than how it was before the pandemic. Oh yeah, you know what I mean?
I just think people were more adaptable than we thought we were gonna be because we went, oh, all right. Like, it's, like, we're kind of, you know, we're here right now in this moment, but that's, people kind of went, they didn't stop next to it, they kind of went through it, you know? And so people were pretty, you know, resourceful.
Resilient,
yeah, especially, but the thing is, there's some professions, there's some people, or some ways that, some certain things that, hobbies or whatever it is, that just explode when you have something when life drastically changes like that. And true. I don't know, I feel like artists went through this like artist hibernation thing, and now they're just like everything changed, like I'm ready to rock and roll. Not for everybody, but for a lot. I mean, and if just for a lot of people, these people that I've even talked to, I didn't have them on the podcast for that reason. It just happened.
I mean, it's weird in so many ways, but again, it's like all about the perspective and like how can we find the good and the bad, and how can we take advantage of it, and how can we, well, the world is going crazy, but I'm gonna better myself somehow, or I'm gonna take this opportunity and run with it, or I don't know. So it's definitely been crazy. I just think that there's been so much going on, like one after the other. But, and I'm not taking away from how hard it has been, because it's been hard for everyone. Even though I'm saying, oh, it's helped me so much, like there are a lot of hard parts about it for sure, and there's a lot of people who their lives have changed, and maybe, you know, it's for in a very hard way, and I'm definitely, you know, being sympathetic towards that. So I don't want to sound like I'm like, well, everything's great for everyone. Like, it's hard. It's definitely a different situation for everyone, but it's one of those things where it's like, there's no choice. Like, we were all in the same boat. We all had maybe a different outcome or a different journey, but we're all in the same boat because this was happening to everyone all at once. And it was something that the world had never experienced, or at least not in anyone's lifetime that's alive right now. I don't think, right?
If you're like 100 years old, I think.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Other than like the little ones that haven't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it's one of those, like, you adapt.
You have
and
to
survive.
You have to.
It's
though.
like
There's no way to.
The true test of, I guess, the human experience. You know, you're like, how are you gonna make it work?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fuck. Like, I feel like some people just do a little. They just adapt fast.
Yeah, and
I didn't think about it what I was doing. I didn't think about what I was doing. Really. I just did. Like, I said, all right, I'm going to start this thing. This is how I'm going to map it out. Like, I didn't think, like, what's happening? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Like, what's happening? Like, I didn't think about that at all. They told me what's happening. And I didn't have cable or TV. Mm-hmm. So they told me what's happening, and I don't read the news online. So I would just check in, or somebody would tell me if a crazy thing happened. Mm-hmm. But I didn't even acknowledge it. Like, my surroundings were... not like I was just in an apartment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was in my apartment also for like a good 2 months. Like, I didn't do anything. Maybe 2 to 3 months. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, because I know a lot of people stayed and maybe are still staying in their house. But for me, yeah, I don't know. I was just like, it's not. I get it. I don't know. It's really hard to like say your opinion on it, because I feel like it can come across very like, oh, what do you mean we had to stay inside? Don't be selfish, you know?
Oh, no, I mean, I just think, like, the bad has nothing to do with the good. The good has nothing to do with the bad. It just exists on its own. Like, they're mutually exclusive. They're not... It's not like they're good. The pandemic was amazing for some people. Like, that's just a fact. I mean, like, the fact that it was absolutely terrible and the worst thing that's ever happened for some people is also a fact. But those facts, one doesn't change the other one.
For sure. that's true. Exactly. And
they both exist by themselves.
We all have our own experiences. But yeah,
exactly. I was in like, we're not downplaying anything that happened. That was
exactly.
Bad.
That's why I don't want to make it seem like I am.
No. Just by focusing on what's good doesn't downplay anything that's bad. Like, that's what I said. I didn't talk about the thing for like a year and a half after it happened. Like, on this podcast, I would sit down with people every podcast and it would never come up. Like, it was that's just what happened. And then other podcasts it comes up. Like, but it wasn't a thing that was ever a focus for me. So I didn't, like, I knew it, like, I understood what it was, and I was safe, and I, you know, did what I had to do when I had to do it, but I also just always judge my surroundings. And but I don't leave, like, I work from home most of the time, and I'm a DJ, so I do that. But then that came back. So I was in 300, 400 person events right when that was able to open up, and people were still like, what's going on? Like, is that... And I'm like, dude, I'm ripping events. Yeah. Like, no problem. You know? So, I don't know. So, I just went by my experience. So, once again, not downplaying anybody else's experience, but when you are in my shoes and you just have that happen, and then you're like, oh, I'm good. I did like 12, 15, 20 events. It's like, all right, so that's just my world. Like, that's my occupation, so...
For sure. You know, that's true. Yeah, You're
a good person, though. You know, that's. Come on.
You're a good person.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, yeah, it was definitely very hard though, because I mean, a lot of how I feel like I survive is. Oh, I'm okay. Thank you. Is based off connection, and feeling like energy and like reciprocating that. And I don't know, even like I need that human experience. It's like it was mentally very hard to just like be inside all the time, and I stayed inside for a good amount of time, but once I like finally was like, I'm gonna go back out and sing, it just changed everything, because I was like, I need to be doing that, like this is ridiculous, like what the fuck, like I'm sorry, but
and you're not hurting anybody singing.
No, I mean, it's funny, I had comments like telling me like I'm the reason you're the reason we can't walk into New York City and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, whatever.
You can wear your mask wrong and they'll say that, you know what I'm saying?
Like, whatever, leave me alone. Like, I don't, of course I care, but like, look, like life's hard enough, I can't have the pressure of the whole entire world on me. Like, I'm here to do something for good.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm here to bring good energy.
Just,
like,
you're on the good. You're in the good. Some people are living in the bad, so they're trying to bring the bad to our good.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like
Don't bring your bad in my good.
I sat in my room for a long time by myself, but you know what? At this point, sorry, I keep shaking the thing. It's like I have to get out because I'm gonna go insane. So, and I think that everyone needed some sense of normalcy in some way. It's like, how do you expect people to live?
Well, you're back though. You've been back, so you're good.
Yeah.
Do you announce it at all?
Sometimes.
That makes sense. Do you announce it at all though? Is there any way that people can find you like busking at all, or is it completely random to you? Like, do you?
I get that question a lot. It's pretty random.
Damn it! I asked you a generic question. Fuck.
No, not like that. I mean, I get that a lot, like on my social media, because people be like, "Where can I find you? I want to find you." It's hard because I don't have like a specific schedule. It's very random, and sometimes I can get to a spot and then it won't work out. Maybe someone's there. Maybe I need to go somewhere else. So if I post, "Hey, I'm gonna be here at this time," and then I get there and I can't be there, and then someone comes and then I have to move, it's like stresses me out. I would rather just show up with no like baggage, except for my bag, and then, work with that. But also, if I tell you, or if I post, I'm going to be here and there, like, to be honest, what I do is, like, very vulnerable. So it's like, I also don't want to completely subject myself to something bad, potentially. I mean, bad can happen no matter where, no matter what time. That's just life. But I try to be as cautious as I can about what I put out and how. I would love to say, like, oh, I'm going to be here at this time putting on, like, a show, That's different. But if I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be at this spot, and if people show up and then I have to move that spot, it's just like, oh, I get kicked out. It's just too stressful. Or I have to be, oh, just kidding, I'm not there anymore. I don't know. And then what if someone was on their way? It's like, I don't want to, like, it's too stressful.
There's kind of a piece about it, like a piece to be able to, for you to just go. And just
show up, do my thing, and then leave.
Yeah.
And then not feel like I'm responsible to tell people where or when. Because then I feel like sometimes the main reason I love doing it is because it's very authentic and genuine. And if I do too much to, like, mold it, I just feel like it starts to get weird. I just would rather do it the way I always do it and then leave.
You're going by feel,
Yeah, exactly. Like, I try to just be a little more, like, cautious about it, because it is a little bit of a, I'm out in the street.
I really, in the subway. Yeah, I know. It's like, that's why people are so attracted to it, in terms of your videos, and you're there. That's different than being in your room,
Oh, for sure.
Way different. So that's why it has that kind of, like, oh, that's like a little dangerous, Like, it has that thing where you're like, is she out there? And then you're like, where is she? Oh, she's in New York City. All right, cool. And you're like, you like start thinking about it, kind of, because it's not something that you see all the time.
Yeah, it's not so. You don't see that super often. I mean, you see a lot of buskers. It's clearly something that exists, and it's out there, and we're out there, and there's a lot of talent out there, and there's a lot of people who show up and do that, but it's definitely not...
There's way more dancers on TikTok, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed, yeah. Like, if we're
even the
talking
buskers
about,
are dancers, you know?
In terms of TikTok, I've seen a few, and I haven't even seen, like, up to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I've only seen yours.
Oh, cool. But yeah,
I'm trying to keep it that way. I
don't really see, like, a lot of busking videos. I'm actually curious to, like, click on the hashtag and see what comes up. I'm gonna do that later for my own research.
Yeah.
But
keyword research, good.
Exactly. But yeah, it's not like something, especially as a artist or a musician, it's not something that everyone would do, you know? Mm-hmm. But I personally, I've always said I want to do, like, everything because I want to be able to do everything. Like, I'll do, like, certain gigs, or, like, if I have to, like, I've done gigs before I have to, like, jump up and down, and it's so uncomfortable for me, and I don't want to ever do it again, but I did it. I've done it, so I know what it feels like, and I grew from that. Like, oh, I wanna do this. Whatever I want to do, I want to do it. I want to, like, kind of hit all different parts of the musical world, because it's not black and white. Like, there's so much you can do as a singer, as a songwriter, as a performer. If you think of it like, this is all I want to do, I mean, you can do that, but there's just so much you can do. So I like to do it all. But a lot of people, it's just the truth, wouldn't busk. That's just how it is.
Takes balls.
Yeah.
It does, for real. That's hard to do.
I think so.
Like, I think I'm just saying, like, I think it's hard to do karaoke in front of people.
Yeah. I mean,
for me even.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, like, vulnerable experience. I mean, I think art is always super vulnerable, but the difference, I guess, with, like, the busking is that you are not being invited to do this. Mm-hmm. Like, you are just showing up, and you are just imposing.
There's so many different, like, aspects of it that are, like, its own thing completely. Like, you were saying before, like, it's its
own art.
It is, yeah.
You know?
Like, everything down from the location to, like, the mm-hmm. volume to, you know, whatever.
The song,
the moment, and, like, you're DJing, you know.
All of it. No, for sure.
But it's way more than that. It's just like there's so many. The music you're DJing, then you're picking a spot, and then there's people mm-hmm. walking by, and they just had an experience. They just went to work. It was bad. It was good. They just went to their cousin's house.
You never know what you're getting.
They might have done anything. They did drugs. They did illegal stuff. They helped people. Like, it's just you get everybody walking through mm-hmm. by, and then you hear music from an artist you don't know. So then you're like, I hope it's good, and then you turn, and then, like, in your scenario, like, in a regular, any scenario, you start to hear the music or whatever, and then, I don't know, at least me, I'm naturally attracted to, like, the people playing music. Like, my girlfriend knows that I'm going to go up to them and, like, talk to them and stuff like that. You know, not when they're, like, playing or singing, but, like, I'll wait around sometimes, you know, and just listen.
I do have that problem sometimes. It's a very interesting, I've literally had people talk to me as I'm singing, and I'm like, yeah, I like multitask and talk back sometimes, but it's always interesting to me. I'm like,
do you see what I'm doing, or do you...
Yeah, like, I was once, like, singing. I was actually singing at a restaurant, and I'm like singing, I'm, like, in the middle of a song, and this woman, like, got up to leave, but she came and she, like, left a tip. It was very sweet. And I'm singing, and she's like, oh, I was reading your bio, and I see you went to blah, blah, blah. Like, my son went there. Like, that's really cool. And I'm like, nah, yeah, I know, it's great. And I'm like, I'm not going to be rude, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, okay, I can multitask, but, like, why are you talking to me? I'm singing. It's weird. But, I mean, again, it's one of those where I feel like I don't say, like, excuse me, I'm singing. I just go with it. Like, I'm very much, like, I just go with the situation. I live in the moment. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And then it ends. Like, it happens more than you would think. People are, like, talking to you, and you're, like, singing, and then you're, like, talking back. But sometimes I think people are just, like, excited, or they just, like, they want to, like, talk, or they want to just, like, give good energy. So I never take it in a negative way. I'm just like, oh, well, stay on beat.
Yep, stay in the song.
Stay focused. But
if I was to like just zoom out a little bit from this conversation, I just have to state the fact that like this is your entire life, you know, like what you do with this music and this busking and everything. Like you have ways to do it, so you can do it all the time. So that's how I know, especially, that it's your whole life. You know, like now obviously you have, there's other aspects to your life, but this is like your focus. You know,
for sure, music is the whole focus, and like I definitely. Try to busk as much as I can, but I also like, I do other things in order to be like, I do like weddings and do other gigs and like session work and just try and like do it all, but I do love to busk, and that is, this is definitely my life for sure. Yeah. And the busking thing, I feel like at this point it's been like probably almost like 4 years or so I feel it's pretty ingrained in me.
What I really like is that I feel like you just kind of decided to do what you wanted to do, and then now you're like, well, I gotta go through what I gotta go through to get there.
And there's really no turning back.
There's no and you're just like, I like that you're following your dream. Like that's a dream that you've had for a long time. Like this isn't, that's why I asked that question too, because that is so interesting to me. Yeah. Because I feel like I find things as I go a lot of times, and like I have things, but I never had a thing that I really knew when I was a kid. Then I actualized like later on, like it was all like new stuff. Mm-hmm. So I want to learn about all these different type of people who like knew, but like they just wanted it, but maybe they didn't know for sure. The people that knew for sure, the people that found it when they were 39. Or when they were 28, like and so, I mean, that's what it is. That's really those are the people that I like to sit down with, you know.
All of those situations definitely exist, you know. Some people like they're like, oh, I want to do this, and then they decide and they go back to school.
I just think it's way crazier when you actually like the thing earlier in life, and then it ends up starting to happen later on, or ends up being the thing, because anything can take anybody off. Especially in the younger times.
For sure. No, for sure. And it's definitely weird because I've definitely heard, people tell me like, you're so lucky you've always known what you wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm grateful that I have the ability that I have and that I love it and that I want to do it. But I wouldn't say, like, it's also really hard to know what you want to do for so long because it's like this like constant pressure your whole life where you're like, this is all I want to do. So it's like you don't see anything else. You don't want anything else. You're like, this is it. So you put so much emphasis on it and so much, like, you know what I mean?
You never felt, though, like, this is what I am good at, but you know how people say that, oh, this is what I'm good at, but no, it's not really what I want to do. Like, it was both for you. Like, I understand why people, I don't get the luck thing, really. That's not something that I would really... Yeah. It exists. It's, but you can't do anything with it. So that's why I'm not concerned with it. It doesn't... It just exists when it does, and it's way too random for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like... there's the anxiety part of my brain and the doubtful part will be like, oh, I love this, but this isn't what I want to do. But I'd never really say that to myself. It's literally the anxiety of what I do and like the moments of doubt that can make me go like, I don't want to even do this anymore. Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I've never actually felt that way. I always felt like more reserved and, like I was saying before, more shy and more like a little awkward and like, oh, I don't even know. But at the same time, ever since I was a kid, if someone was like, oh, sing, I would just sing. Like, I didn't have like, even though I felt like shy in a way, I just would do it. So there's like this part of me that's like, yeah, I'm just like meant to do it. There's something in me that's just like meant to do it. It's just I don't know how to explain it, but it's weird and annoying. No kidding.
I knew it 2 years ago. I know it now again, even stronger. I feel like now, especially that it's became even more of a part of your life and a massive part of your life. And it was great back then to talk and to just get to know you a little bit and just sit down and have a conversation, because you can't do this with everybody. And
for sure.
I think one day you'll probably have your own you'll be on way, different shows and bigger shows and things like that. But
I'll be back.
Yeah, you'll be back here for sure. But
for sure.
I mean, we ain't going anywhere. But I know I'll see you there. Like, I feel like you'll have your own sort of something with media, your own show or something like that. Ooh. Or a podcast maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
I think you can get I don't think it's just music. Not all artists can talk about what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? So I think Amen. I think about next steps, next levels, and hey, that's what we're trying to do. I appreciate you doing the podcast.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for having me. Super fun.
Long overdue too. I wish we would have done it. I mean, hey, this is how the cookie crumbles, and now we can.
For sure, we'll have to keep circling back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then seeing where we're at.
That's actually the beauty of it. And then I'm gonna start sending you clips of the old ones that are just.
Oh, please do.
I got you.
For sure.
I got you.
For sure, so I could be like, oh my god.
Talk about the same thing 5 years later, 10 years later. It'd be crazy.
I mean, life's amazing in that way.
Yeah. It changes.
It's just a journey, exactly. It's changing every day, changing every moment. Just gotta ride the ride.
Spell Nahscha for us so we know the proper spelling.
Nahscha is spelled Nahscha.
Nahscha on every single platform and on the music platforms as well. If you want to check the latest single.
My latest single is Moments, but I've got 3 out right now. Moments, Soulfred, and The Lottery. So I just plugged them all.
Link down below.
Yes.
Listen to, you got to do it all. This is the thing with you, is that you got to watch the videos, you got to listen to the songs, you got to watch the live performance.
Yeah.
Just, there's links in the show notes, folks, like YouTube, whether you're listening. It's right there. Go check it out. And all of your content. It's amazing how it's evolved over time. Thanks for doing this once again.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Bobcast. Today we got the amazing Nahscha on the show. Once again, all of her stuff in the description. And as you know, we are on all platforms. Even the ones nobody uses. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace!
That's funny.
Woo! What we got?